So welcome to the first session of Yin Yoga for the fall. I'm very happy that you're here. We're going to start today with a centering exercise, and you can do this centering either in a seated position or lying on your back. It's totally up to you. Remember, when we're doing this kind of yoga, it's more about comfort than alignment. So if you are sitting down and you feel like you're caving in, you might want to sit yourself up on a pillow. You might also want to put something underneath each of your thighs so that you can relax your thighs completely. So take a moment to get settled in a really, really comfortable position that you can maintain without stress or strain on any of your muscles. Just take a second to settle in that way. So you want to feel safe and supported. And I want to commend you for spending this time just on yourself. It's a rare treat to spend a whole hour just thinking about your own mind, body, and spirit. So I salute you for taking this time for yourself to make sure that you are honoring your body, honoring your emotions, honoring your spirit. So what I'd like you to do first is to take a nice deep breath in through your nose and let it out slowly through your mouth. And next time you take your breath in, just see if you can raise your heart space, your chest a little bit on the inhale. And on the exhale, feel the jaw and the shoulders relax. Just allow whatever thoughts and feelings to come up. Just notice them and let them pass through your mind space like clouds. As you continue with your natural breath, you can do a quick check down through your entire physical body, noticing if there's any resistance, any tightness, any holding in the jaw, the neck, the eyebrows, the shoulders, the pelvic area. The knees, the ankles and toes. Just invite any resistance to dissipate. Just allow your whole body to relax and settle in. We're going to do a little bit of focusing now on the breath. So what I'd like you to do is just take a couple of natural breaths. And then on your inhale, we're going to do it to the count of 4. So let's all inhale, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale. So it's a slightly longer inhale. Let's do that again. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale. And we're going to do that 2 times now in a row. So we're going to inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale. And then return to your normal breathing. And we're going to add something on now. We're going to inhale for the 4 count, and then we're going to hold the breath or a 7 count before we exhale. So let's get ready. Here we go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. Breathe normally. And then let's do that. Inhale, hold for 2 times. So let's begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. Breathe normally while I describe the last piece here, which is inhale 4, hold 7, exhale 8. And we're just going to do that 2 times, starting now. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And continue to breathe. Then do a final check of how your body, mind, and spirit is landing. And this is a good time to make an intention for your practice, something that you may want to focus on during the practice or during the course of your day, or maybe the month of September, something that works for you. It's called Sankalpa, and it is a very common practice in yoga. So if you haven't a Sankalpa, you can say it to yourself silently, and you may want to refer to it during the practice. All right, so we're going to get ready for our first pose. So for those of you who are on your back, roll over to your side and come up to seated as we prepare for our very first yin posture today. So one of the things that I think I have a tendency to do, and I would invite you to not do as I practice, not doing it, is to jump up and roll over quickly, because in this practice, it's all about being slow and making the transitions. I think we're so used to it in our normal lives, just skipping from event to event, that we just, in yoga, okay, going on to the next pose. So you don't have to do that. You can go real slow. All right, so if you're sitting up, I want you to spread your legs a comfortable distance apart, just enough so you feel the stretch, but you don't feel any uncomfortableness in your hips. Now, if this requires you to sit on a blanket, you can. I have this blanket rolled for an event later, so if you don't have your roller, you might want to have some pillows or a roll blanket available to you for the practice. So you can sit on this or on a pillow, or just kind of fold your hips so that your pelvis is facing forward. We're going to be coming into a wide-legged forward fold. So I am going to be using my bolster. I have all my props here. I did say in the email to bring pillows and props, and I also have a strap. So our first forward fold pose. We're just going to take as many props as is necessary to be able to fold forward and sustain this position comfortably for 5 minutes. So I generally start with as many props as it takes to not feel any discomfort as I fold forward. So find your happy place in the forward fold, and we're going to hold this pose for 5 minutes. Now, if at any time during the pose you start to feel it's too uncomfortable, back off a little bit. You may end up just being almost straight. There are days when I can't really fold forward. So listen to your body, how it is today, not how it was last week or what you want it to be, what it actually is telling you works for it today. Another area which sometimes becomes uncomfortable in a forward fold is underneath your hamstrings. So if you have extra pillows, you can always place pillows underneath your knees to make sure that your hamstrings don't sing during the pose. In yin, we're working at about 70%, 60 to 70% of our actual range of motion. So we're not striving to go anywhere. We're just trying to release the joints, release the ligaments, tendons, all the connective tissues around the joints, not working with the muscle. In fact, the muscles should not be doing much work at all. They shouldn't really be doing any work. They should be totally relaxed. Just stressing the joints. And what you may feel it in the backs of your legs. You may feel it in the tops of your hips. You may feel it stress in the low back. This is what if it's not painful, it's what we call good stress that allows you to have more fluidity and range of motion. So a little bit of good stress or stretch is exactly what we're going for, but nothing shooting sharp. Keep inviting your body to soften, let go. These practices that we're going to be doing for the first couple of weeks are designed to move the nervous system away from a fight and flight response into a rest and digest response. So what I notice is working when all of a sudden I'm in a pose and I just want to take a nice deep breath and sigh it out. It's like, I've switched. I've switched from being ready to rumble to ready to relax. You may notice that. You may feel that moment of transition. very slowly begin to walk your hands back. So you're sitting upright. And we're going to just take our hand and place them behind our hips. Lift up the heart space, counterbalance from the forward fold. Breaths here. And then if you want to, you can switch your props over one side of you. I don't care which side, we're going to do both. And we're going to take our knees and lift them up and bend the knees and bring the feet up so that and do a couple of windshield wiper poses. And then come back to center and widen the legs again. And this time we're going to prepare to bend over to the side where we placed your prop. But before we do that, mine happens to be on my left. So I'm going to take my left hand and place it behind my hip and my right hand over on top of my left thigh or on the other side of my left thigh and twist around. Keep the spine long. Shoulders back. Let's do a little twist here. Soften those tops of the thighs. See if you can relax everything, just squeezing those digestive organs slightly. Take one more breath. Slowly come back to center and we'll counter twist. Left hand on right thigh, right hand behind you, and twist. And come back, and we're going to fold over that left side. This is a heavy bolster, but I'm going to place it on my knee so that I can just relax and fold over that left leg. I'm going to hold this pose for 3 minutes. So it's a side forward fold. Come down with as many props as you need. And bring your hands to either side of that left leg. Soften, soften, soften. If you feel any discomfort, you can either bring your legs in a little closer together or add more props. Listen to your body. Soften through the area. Relax the tops of the thighs. The feet soft. Very slowly release this pose. Come up to sitting. Move my props to the other side. And sit back. Lift up your heart space. Bend those knees. And we'll do some more windshield wipers. And come up. And again, we're going to do a little bit of twisting here. So first we're going to take the right hand or whatever hand is that you didn't use last time and twist a little bit over to the right. Getting our digestive organs a good rinse today. And then slowly, slowly transition around and we'll do a short twist to the other side. Long spine, soft thighs. And come back to center. All right, so we're nearing the home stretch here. We're going to do a forward fold on the opposite side now. So prepare your props. Now this side you may have more or less forward motion. So be sure to adjust according to what your body requires. So let's come down over. I got this a little funny here. And we'll hold this for 3 minutes. There's no right or wrong way to be in these poses, no better or best way to be in them. It's whenever you get the sensation that you feel like you're giving good stress to those joints. So we're getting to the backs of the thighs here and the sides of the hips. This particular practice is designed to increase flexibility in the pelvic region, the hips and the pelvis, which helps a lot if you like to walk or if you have to sit for long periods of time. This helps keep these sets of connective tissues from getting too stuck. Again, check for tension. Keep everything soft. Slowly release the pose. And if you had props, you want to get them out of the way now. Going to slowly make your way down onto your back. So make your way onto your back and just take a moment to notice the rebound from all that forward folding sensations in the back body that was forward. You may feel a nice, more of a curve in the lumbar region after that. And then start to widen your legs again and bring your arms out to the side, parallel to the at a right angle to the body. So we're in a position called 5-star here. And just take a moment to check in with your shoulders. Maybe scoop them under a little bit more. Feel like if you're even, or just check in with your body to see how it's feeling. We're going to move into banana pose. So I like to curve my banana starting with my top of my body. So I shimmy my shoulders and rib cage over to the right. And then I'm going to slide my left heel over towards my right heel. The goal is to keep this left hip on the mat. And then I'm going to take my right arm up overhead and see if I can bring my left arm up to meet it. So generally making the shape of a banana. And we're going to be here for 3 minutes. I love this pose. You may notice, and I've had some of my students mention this, tight side of the hip down to the knee, the TFL, the tensor fascia latae. It's a big, long chunk of connective tissue that can get really, really tight. So this pose does a lot of different things, but it opens up, expanding the rib cage on the left and stretching out that TFL from the top of the hip down to the knee. So again, sensation, but not too sensational. Now, if you have your arm overhead and your shoulder is lifting off the mat, you can do 2 things. One is you could put a prop underneath your shoulder so that it's supported, or you can just lower your arm down so that everything is on the surface, because you don't want any of your limbs hanging out into open space. That's one of the prime directives, I would say, at the end, is everything has to be supported. And you'd be amazed if you relax and can't get too much stretch in the first couple of sessions, that it very, very gradually you will see, you will get more and more range of motion in your joints. It's kind of fascinating. It's all in those connective tissues. It's not in the muscles. The muscles need to work and they need to be strong, but they can't get anywhere if you don't work the connective tissues with them. So we're going to be working mostly with the connective tissues for the first couple of weeks. And then we're going to add on some strengthening types of hatha poses just to keep a balance here. You don't want to lose all your strength just doing the end. very, very slowly walk the left foot over to the left side of the mat and bring the arms back into that 5-star pose. Bring the torso back. Stay here for a moment, noticing how different the sides feel after doing the banana on one side. Reminds me I have to have a banana later today. I'll try to keep that potassium up. All right, so we're going to do the other side now. And again, I like to take my upper body over first. You may like to take your leg over first. You can experiment with that. And then slide that right foot over beside the left foot, keeping that right hip on the mat. It doesn't matter how much of a curve you get. It depends on how much sensation you feel in this stretch. And we'll, again, hold this side for 3 minutes. Remember about your shoulders too. So if your arm will make it up and overhead, and you can keep it on the mat, that's great. If you want to just keep it out by the side, that's great. And if you want to support your shoulder with a prop, that's great too. In fact, you want to try different things, experiment to see where you get the most benefit, feeling good, feeling stretching. Take a nice deep breath into that right lung. It's got a lot of space here now. You can really fill it up. Another thing I like to do when I'm in these poses, especially the ones where I'm lying on my back, is to turn up the corners of my mouth. But gives you a different sensation, a different perspective. Gradually start moving that right leg over to the right. Bring your torso back to center. And just come into 5-star again for a moment and see if the sides have balanced out. So then put your feet back on the mat, step them onto the mat. Drop your knees down to the right and use your left hand to come up to seated as we set up for our next pose. So I'm going to need some props for this next pose. If you have your roller, this is a great prop for this pose. If you don't have your roller, you can have a rolled up blanket. To whatever height is comfortable. And if you don't have a rolled up blanket, you can take a couple of pillows. So what, and also I would like you to have a bathroom tie or strap, like you have your strap handy next to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into a flexor stretch. So I'm going to use my roller, place it under my knees, or if you have your rolled up blanket, you can place it there, or your pillows. And then we're going to lie down and then take those props, whatever you're using, and place them right on your sternum. I'm going to go sideways for this pose, I think. So whatever you have that you can use as an elevator, blocks, bolster, roller, pillows, get on that prop, lift up so that you've got stretch in the front of your hip flexors. So this might be too much for some people. You might want to start a little lower depending on your flexibility. So find your happy place in this pose, and we're going to stay here for 5 minutes. Now, if it's too much, you can bend one leg at a time. I know I think I had a bout where I'd done a lot of sitting, and when I got into this, I said, oh my gosh, because my flexors were so shortened from all the sitting I'd been doing. This is a great pose if you do a lot of sitting. Like if you were to take a car trip, you could buy like a half roller, and then when you get into your place where you're staying after the car trip, you just want to get on that roller and stretch out the tops of those hips. So as you notice, we started by stretching the insides of the thighs, and then we moved on, and we also did the back of the pelvis. And then in our second posture, we did the sides of the hips and thighs. And now we're doing the tops. So naturally, we're going to end up with the bottom of the top. So this is a great stretch for the tops of the thighs, and you don't have to do anything but lay here. I mean, how much fun is that? We could have done a lunge pose, but I thought maybe we'd save that for when we're trying to build up some muscles too. So if you would like a little more challenge here, if you feel like your flexors are taking this pose to side, you can lift up one leg, make sure you can stay on this, and hold it in, and that will push out through the opposite heel. That will give you even more stretch on the top of the extended leg. You can stay here with this leg for a few minutes, or a minute maybe. Now, if you're doing this and your arms are like way up here like this, you could also do it with a strap. Hold your leg in with a strap, so you can keep your shoulder very relaxed. Yes, I like this better. I feel like I can relax my shoulders forward, which gives me more sensation of stretch. Now I'm going to switch legs. go back to having the legs out. You can also bring your arms up and overhead, get a good rib stretch. So very slowly, bring your feet in, lift up your hips, remove your prop, push it off to the side. And then hug your knees into your chest. Nice rotation. You can rotate the hips and knees around in circles in both directions. And then we're going to go into happy baby pose. So this is another one where you want to make sure you're not stressing your shoulders. So I'm going to recommend, if you have a strap, you can place it around your feet, take them wide, and then draw those knees in towards the armpits. So that's a way to do it if you are a little bit not comfortable in that, because I think I was doing it with one of my students, and her, when she was in the actual happy baby, her head and shoulders had to come off the ground. So if you feel yourself lifting up, it's better to get a strap or just hold out a little bit lower so you don't put a lot of pressure on your neck and shoulders. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. You just put your hands under your thighs too. So we just have our kind of like an upside down horseback riding pose. So you want to have your knees coming bent and down with straight lower legs, and then you can grab onto your feet, or you can do any of the modifications. And we're just going to stay here for a minute. I love this pose. I don't know why. Try to relax that pelvis, relax those shoulders, relax the knees. So I'm going to tell you a little secret if you're one of those people that has to trick themselves into doing yoga sometimes, because it's just not quite the habit you want it to be yet. Sometimes I do a lot of these in bed in the morning, and then I almost get excited and want to go get on my mat. So you can just, like, this is a pose you could easily do in bed. Banana pose you could do in bed. When sit up in bed, you could do the forward folded bed pose. So take a tub, you can forward fold it in the bathtub. So release that pose. Let's drop those knees down to the mat. And just stay here for a moment. In fact, lengthen out your legs. Notice what sensations are happening in the whole pelvic area. We're going to do our last pose before Shavasana. We're going to do a twist. We're going to do a tiger pulling its tail twist. So let's bend both knees. We're going to be taking our knees to the right. So what I'd like you to do now is take your strap wrap it around your right foot. Just have it kind of handy over to the left, the strap itself. So if you need props for twisting, you can take your props and bring them over to the right where your thighs would land. Bring your arms out to the side of your right arm out to the side, left arm holding your strap if you have it. And then lift up your hips, take them over to the left, drop them down, and then drop your knees to the right. So you're in a twist. You're going to try to keep both shoulders on the mat. If both shoulders aren't on the mat, you can take a pillow and put it under that left shoulder. So here's the tiger pulling its tailpiece. You want to take that strap and pull that right leg over to the left so that your knees are separated. Getting a nice stretch now if you're in this pose, not only on the outside of that left hip, but in the top of that right quadricep. You can reach your foot with your hand, you can do that too. You get an even better stretch. The trick is though to keep those collarbones as level with the mat as possible. I'm just going to stay putting through the timer. I'm going to stay here for, we've been here about a minute, so we'll stay here for 3 minutes. Again, support that left knee if it's lifted up off the mat. Now we're trying to engage the connective tissues, not have the muscles do any work. So this way you're getting pretty much the whole area stretch. You're getting the hip, the TFL, the top of the quadricep, and a little bit of the inner thighs. So this is a very multifaceted yin pose. And once you've found your Cinderella Goldilocks spot, you can just soften and release. There was one other tip I wanted to give you about yin, and that is sometimes when you're in these poses, especially if you've got a monkey mind, you know, if your mind is just full of chatter and it's very hard to relax, I try to stay in the present moment by grounding myself with a mantra. So I might say something like on my in-breath, present moment, and then on my out-breath, wonderful moment. Because to be in the present moment is a stress-free experience. To stay, stress usually comes from worrying about what's going to happen or feeling some emotion about what happened in the past. But the present moment right now while we're doing yoga is delicious. Let's enjoy it. Let's stay in it. Let's save the shopping lists till after Shavasana. Another good mantra is I breathe in on the in-breath, I breathe out on the out-breath. Very slowly let go of that right foot. And bring the knees back to center. Just pause here for a moment, take the feet wide, bring the knees together, and put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly in constructive rest pose. And then we'll prepare for twisting on the other side. So if you were using a strap, you're going to transfer that strap to around the left foot, drawing the ends of the strap over to the right. Take your arms out to the side, lift up those hips, bring them over to the right side of the mat, and then drop the knees down on the left. And we're going to take the arms out wide and then slide that left foot over to the right, keeping the collarbones broad. You may notice this side is easy peasy or more challenging than the other side. Once you've found your shape, soften. So where do you put your head in a twist? You can keep looking up at the ceiling. You can look the opposite direction of your knees. It just depends on what feels good for your neck. Very slowly release the strap, bringing these back to center. unravel from this twist. Come back into that constructive rest pose by widening your feet on the mat, bringing the knees together, one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. Deep breaths. And let's slowly lengthen out the legs. Bring the arms down by your sides. And we're going to come into our final pose, Shavasana. So just let everything go. Enjoy this integration of your practice today. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Gently nod your head from side to side. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate your wrists and your ankles. And take your arms up overhead. Bring your feet straight out in front of you and stretch it out. Let's roll over onto your side. I'd like to stay here for a few heartbeats just to prepare. And then slowly come up to seated. Bring your hands to your heart. May you be safe from harm. May you be happy just as you are. May you be peaceful with whatever is happening. May you be healthy, strong. May you live every day with courage and kindness. Namaste.